Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. I was in New York for Get Up this morning, and now I'm in Boston for the Knicks Celtics.
Tony Kornheiser, I'm glad you could fit us in your busy train schedule.
Effort.
Getting a lot of extra points,
Effort.
Though. You know, you're getting points for trains. It's a good thing. You get free train
Where am I getting
travel
points
wherever you
from?
want to go.
Who's giving me points? Are there Amtrak points? Are there Acela points?
Oh, yeah.
You would
Absolutely,
know that.
there are
You
Amtrak
would
points.
actually know that. Wow.
I'll tell you what,
Man.
you give me your points. I'll be able to go to California at some point. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Steph Curry hurts a hamstring, the Canes beat the Caps, and Tim Legler joins us for 5 good minutes. But we begin today with Indiana once again beating Cleveland in Cleveland to take a 2-0 lead in their playoff series. And once again, Tyrese Halliburton was the hero, missing a foul shot off the rim, gathering the rebound, and sinking a three for the winning margin, 120 to 119. Wilbon, is your focus on the Pacers' improbable ending or the Cavaliers' last-minute collapse?
Tony, there's certainly elements of both. I mean, how about the simple element that we start to learn in grade school or, CYO league of blocking out at the free throw line. You just cannot let somebody come crashing in. And 2 plays really cost. That play twice cost the Cleveland Cavaliers. And then Donovan Mitchell and his almost heroic night, you could concentrate on that. But the more I see these clips, the more I got to go with Halliburton. I got to praise the Pacers more than I criticize the Cavaliers. Because Halliburton, they're chanting. You can hear it. They're chanting overrated. And I know this has been one of your favorite things the last couple of days. Overrated.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
And it's like Halliburton said to them, overrate this. It was quite the moment, Tony. And it wasn't just Halliburton, of course. But, I mean, you got to mention him first and foremost because he made these enormous plays. And so twice in a week, it's amazing to have this happen with so little time left and to go up 2-0 now on the number 1 seed in the East.
Yeah, so what I focus on is different. What I focus on are the 3 Cleveland Cavaliers who did not play because they were hurt. Darius Garland again, Evan Mobley, and DeAndre Hunter, okay? They are 3 of their top 6 players. Mike, they combined for 53 points a game. How are you going to find 53 points a game in the playoffs? You're playing Indiana. You're not playing the Wizards. This is a very, very hard thing to do. My sense of this is that Halliburton absolutely needs to be praised. And my other focus is on the people who voted him, the NBA players who voted him the most overrated player in the NBA. Really? Why don't you step forward and be counted so we can make fun of you? This guy knocked out Milwaukee a week ago with a last-second shot. He went up 2-0 last night with a last-second shot. He had 11 points in the fourth quarter. And I heard something this morning, Mike, that over the course of the season, within the last 2 minutes, to hit a shot that either ties the game or puts you in front, Halliburton was 10 out of 11. Mike, I think that he is playing with a chip on his shoulder because of this stupid poll and also because his old man cannot get into the games. And he is carrying this series. And Cleveland's in real trouble.
They're in real trouble. You go down 2, and they're going to get those guys back. You're right, Tony. You got to have them. And by the way, they're sprinting off the bench to high five and chest bump. And I'm like, okay, I mean, might they get in the game and chest bump? But they need them. In last night's late game, the Warriors took game 1 from the T-Wolves. Steph Curry, as you mentioned, was sidelined in the second quarter with that hamstring injury. But Golden State filled the void with huge contributions from Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler, and Buddy Hield for a second straight game. Reports are that Curry is out at least a week and then will be reevaluated. Tone, does losing Curry until at least game 5 diminish the Warriors' win in your mind?
No, far from diminishing it, to me, it enhances it. They went and beat a team. The Warriors beat the Timberwolves without Steph Curry playing the second half. They went on the road against a better team, and without their best player, they won. Now, I grant you, if he's going to miss games 2, 3, and 4 at least, that may diminish the Warriors' chances of winning the series. My hope was he would miss game 2, come back for game 3, and then so what? because they'd already stolen game one. We know what happened last night to Steph Curry. He hurt his hamstring. What happened to your boy, Anthony Edwards? You sit here, you tell me all the time how great Anthony Edwards is. Anthony Edwards had 1 point in the first half. He missed his first 10 shots. He shot 1 for 5 from 3. Mike, that's the home team. The best player on the home team should be, in the playoffs, the best player on the court. And they were collectively, they didn't shoot at all. If I have this right, they were 5 of 29 from 3. That's worse than the Celtics. Yeah. And I can't believe this number I've got in front of me. But I'm told they're 12 of 76 in their last 2 games from 3.
And, Tony, they were like the number 5 three-point shooting team in the league during the regular season. Not turning out that way so far. But let's go to the Anthony Edwards part of it. And, by the way, I agree with you. It enhances the win. Because you go out there and you got to play close to 3 quarters without Stephen Curry. And ask about it right away. Jimmy Butler said after the game, this is easier when we got Steph Curry. And now who knows what will happen. This just takes the wind out of my sails as somebody who loves to watch Steph Curry. And Tony, of course, a hamstring for him, the amount of mileage he runs during a game and the way he functions, he needs 2 legs. He's not a guy who can drag a leg through a series, I don't think, like we saw Kawhi Leonard do back in 2019. But Jimmy Butler said this is easier when Steph Curry's out here, and now they're not going to have him. Tony, Anthony Edwards, he got some making up to do tomorrow at home. Yeah. I mean, you know, when you say I want the Warriors, you want them for what? Yeah. I mean, because last night, they went out there and they took your lunch money. Now, I expect Anthony Edwards, who's still growing into this star thing, I expect him to respond, but he owes his teammates one. He does, and his coach essentially said that.
His coach called him out. His coach called him out.
Yeah.
Of all the teams that lost game one, all 4 higher-seeded teams, which had never happened before in NBA playoff history, this game surprised me the most because they were dead tired. They had to go 7 with Houston, had to go on the road in game 7. The other team was rested and at home, and they lost their best player. They can't win this game. They won the game. Let's go to hockey, as we do in the third story every day lately. The Edmonton Oilers went down 2-0 to Las Vegas in Las Vegas and then scored 4 unanswered goals to win last night. The Washington Capitals were up 1-0 halfway through the third period at home last night. Then were tied by Carolina and beaten rather quickly in overtime. So, Wilbon, who had the more impressive win, Edmonton or Carolina?
Tony, I pulled what I now call affectionately. I pulled a Kornheiser last night. I'm watching mostly basketball. I am on the Acela on Amtrak, but I got the iPad. Right. I'm able to watch stuff while I take my 2-hour and 57 civilized minute trip from Washington to New York. But when I see 2-0, and then I start concentrating on other stuff. I start to watch, Champions League semifinal. I mean, just an unbelievable game there. And then I'm watching basketball, and I go, 2-0. And then all of a sudden I see that Edmonton comes back to do its usual late game number and win this game. That was so impressive. Edmonton keeps doing this, Tone. They keep falling behind. They did it against L.A. almost every game, and now they have done it to take a lead against a better team. I'm going, as you know, with the Oilers.
Okay, I did the same thing you did because I only have one TV. Unlike you, I got one TV. So I can either watch hockey or basketball. I started with the Cavaliers. They're up 20 in the third. I got off the game. I made another mistake because the Cavaliers lose the game. I go to the Capitals. They're up 1-0 halfway through the third. They're at home. I figure they're going to win. I get off that game. I end up on the Washington Nationals doubleheader with Cleveland. I missed everything. I'm an idiot. I will dispute you in this one thing. The reason the Carolina win is more impressive is because they outshot Washington 33-14. They smothered them. They absolutely smothered them. And the Capitals usually average almost 28 shots a game. They had 14 the whole game and none in the overtime. That's a very impressive win by Carolina on the road. Really is. Let's take a break.
On the road.
Coming up, Tim Legler called the Celtics Game 1 performance, and I'm quoting here, an insult to basketball. We're going to ask him why.
Ooh, he did. We'll also ask him how he expects the Thunder to adjust to Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets tonight in Game 2. Lamine Yamal, he was the best.
Let's dig back into the NBA playoffs with our great friend, ESPN NBA analyst Tim Legler. Let me start with this. Steph Curry's injury. What can you do to improve a hamstring in a hurry? Is there anything available to him?
There really isn't, Tony, and that's really the devastating news here for Steph Curry and the Warriors. And when he grabbed it and reacted the way he did, the look on his face was of such concern. I really was worried for him in the moment, and it's about as bad as I thought it could be. They're talking at least a week. It might be longer. He felt something that was very concerning in there, and unfortunately, there really isn't anything you're going to be able to do. He's going to be very gingerly testing this thing out over a period of the next week. I think it's a minimum of 2-3 games. Maybe it's more than that. And, man, has this put the Warriors in a tough spot, but at least they were able to hold on miraculously to Game 1. So they did get the one win in Minnesota. They had to. They're going to go back to the friendly confines of their home court, but they are going to do that with a much different looking offense and much less freedom of movement for their role players because of all the attention that Curry usually gets. Unfortunately, they just have to wait this out.
Man, I hate that news. The Cavaliers' legs, as you know, looked so good all season. They got assorted injuries now, but still the Pacers seem to just be confusing and confounding Cleveland at this point. What's Indiana doing? What is Rick Carlisle's group doing to achieve that result?
The analytical part of my brain looks at this just simply from what are the Pacers doing that the Cavs are having a hard time dealing with. And from that perspective, this is a very good offensive team in Indiana. Now, they might not get a lot of eyeballs on them in the regular season. They're certainly not going to generate as many headlines as a lot of teams that we talk about in this league. I'm watching them, and I'm quietly looking at them saying, man, this is a team that is a nightmare to defend because of the amount of pace they play with, led by their engine, Tyrese Halliburton. But they have so many different guys that are read and react players that fit into this system perfectly. And Rick Carlisle empowers all of them. Every guy that takes the floor for the Pacers is confident to go out there and be themselves and do their job and contribute. Great chemistry, very difficult offense to contain. The other part of my brain says, wait a second, I didn't mention anything about who the Cavs are missing because we can't just dismiss that. You're talking about an all-star point guard, Darius Garland, the defensive player of the year and an all-star in his own right in Evan Mobley, and now a guy that gets six man of the year votes in DeAndre Hunter, who might be their best perimeter defender. You take 3 of their best 5 players off the floor, I don't care what team you are, you're not going to survive that.
Legs, I heard you earlier today, and I guess it started yesterday, and I loved your characterization of Boston's three-point obsession the other night being insulting. I called it arrogant, but let's go back to you, since you are one of the great three-point shooters in NBA history. What did you find insulting?
Well, I think you and I were hitting on the same vein. Your word and my word, very similar, I think, in what we were watching. Here's what I meant by that. It's insulting to try to convince me, as somebody who I think knows what I'm watching and knows basketball, that the way they played on Monday night is the best version of themselves, even though we all acknowledge that's their style. I felt that the shots they took were rushed. They label them uncontested. That doesn't mean they're not rushed. And I didn't understand the frenetic pace of the release of the shot time after time. And what they did, Michael, was they extended the game for the Knicks because they created more possessions for the Knicks. And the Knicks knew, look, if they string some together, they're going to lose the game. They didn't. And the Knicks said, keep shooting them quick. First guy that gets daylight, let it fly. That's going to extend the game for us. Eventually, the Knicks started to score, and they were very confident about the 6-minute mark. They were going to win that game because they knew that Boston was not going to adjust to it and make them work harder defensively. So the reason I found it insulting was because I think there is a better version of the best version of the Celtics. And we did not see that on Monday night. And the people that defend it are going to say, well, this is what they always do. No, that's not true. They don't always take 37 threes after halftime. They don't always take 20 three-pointers in a quarter, 19 three-pointers in a quarter out of 20 shots. Okay, so don't say it always looks like that. It was that on steroids. That's what you watched on Monday night, and it let the Knicks win a game.
Amen.
We will get you out of here on this, and we'll talk about tonight's game. The Nuggets beat the Thunder in Game 1. Again, a higher seed went down at home. What adjustments do you expect from Oklahoma City in tonight's Game 2?
First and foremost, you've got to be tougher on the glass. They got manhandled, and it wasn't just Jokic. He had 22 boards. It was Russell Westbrook. It was Christian Brown. It's the wings crashing. It's Aaron Gordon coming up with all of the balls that mattered on the floor. They were tougher, and they were physically stronger, and I think they are a physically stronger team. Oklahoma City is a faster team. That doesn't mean you can't get help with the physicality from your wings in creating more traffic for Jokic and Gordon and the guys that are trying to get on that glass. They've got to be tougher. They've got to play faster off of their defense, which they didn't do much of in the first game. I talk about these teams being the best version of themselves. I don't think Oklahoma City was that the other night. And it still took an incredible comeback by the Nuggets to win that game. I think you're going to see a great response out of Oklahoma City in Game 2. I know what I watched all year, and they were better than that.
Thank you, Tim. Pleasure as always. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Let's take one last break. Still to come, birthday Calvin Booth. Booth, along with head coach Mike Malone, was fired by the Denver Nuggets with 3 games to go in the regular season. Booth and Malone were said to be at odds, and ownership didn't want either of them. Booth had been general manager of the Nuggets since 2020. Prior to working at Denver, Booth was director of player personnel at Minnesota and had been a scout in New Orleans after a playing career that spanned 10 seasons and 7 teams. Booth was drafted out of Penn State in the second round of the 1999 draft by the Wizards. Everyone wants to know the same thing now. Are Booth and Malone rooting for the Nuggets in the playoffs?
Tony, what seems really clear to be around them a little bit, and I have been for a few days now in the postseason, is that they just seem really together. Whatever they might not have been that led to that firing, they seem to have put that aside and just seem locked. And it just seems impressive to be around. And I don't think they're actors. It seems real.
Happy anniversary, Bartolo Colon. On this day 9 years ago, at the age of 43, Big Sexy hit the first and only home run of his 21-season Major League career. The Mets were in San Diego, yet the home crowd roared the moment the ball left the yard. The Mets dugout cleared out and hid in the hallway to tease Colon after his unexpected feat. Mets announcer Gary Cohn called it this way: Bartolo Colon has done it. The impossible has happened. Colon had 234 at-bats in the National League and 65 at-bats in the American League. With the universal DH, it's likely few pitchers will ever hit a home run again, other than Shohei Ohtani, of course.
Yeah, I mean, Tony just seems lost, like from another time, talking about pitchers and hitting. And there were some really good hitting pitchers in the history of baseball, and now for it to be over, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't like it.
Babe Ruth, for example, he could hit when he pitched.
Yeah, for
Happy
example,
trails,
yeah,
George Pickens. The Steelers have agreed to trade their leading wide receiver and a 6th rounder to the Cowboys for a 3rd and a 5th. Pickens caught 59 balls for 900 yards last season, but also caught flack from head coach Mike Tomlin last season, who said, quote, he's got to grow up, after Pickens was flagged for 2 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties and got involved in a scuffle. Pickens became available when the Steelers traded for DK Metcalf earlier this offseason. The Cowboys get him ahead of a contract here, so be prepared for a daily dose of will Pickens get his money?
Well, and another daily dose of who's going to be throwing the ball. Oh, wait, not to Pickens, but still in Pittsburgh. And it'll lead to, some more speculation on that ayahuasca-consuming quarterback whose name I won't mention.
You don't have to mention him. As we go to the big finish, I'll give you his first name, but it's a different last name. Aaron Judge hit his 12th homer.
Yeah.
You impressed?
Tony, you have to be impressed with everything Aaron Judge is doing right now, don't you? I mean, he's having another truly great Monument Park sort of season. The Dodgers put Teoscar Hernandez on the DL with a groin injury, saying he'll be out for a while. That's a big loss, isn't it?
He's leading the majors in home runs. He's hard to lead with 34. Yes, it's a big loss, of course. The Utah Hockey Club will now be known as the Utah Mammoth. Is that okay with you?
I guess it's okay. It makes me laugh right now, but you get used to all these things, don't you? Like the Wizards and the Commanders. Your town has a lot of those made-up new names. Thunder GM Sam Preston was named the NBA Executive of the Year. Isn't he the right choice?
They had the best record in the NBA, didn't they? And he built the team, so yeah, sure.
He
Last
did.
one, Panthers-Leafs game 2, Stars-Jets game 1 tonight. Who you got, Wilbur?
Panthers even it up, Tony, at 1-1. And I'm going to go with the Jets. But maybe they're emotionally spent and they're not even ready to play again yet. But I'm going to take Winnipeg anyway for game 1 of that series.
Okay, we're out of time. We'll try and do better the next time. And I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, knuckleheads.